State needs to be disruptive on defense, not let them get comfortable. And lastly, Texas State needs to play inside out. Ball movement will be a key.
Bobcats coming off their third straight win. They won 5 of the last 7. Meanwhile, the Broncos have dropped 2 in a row in 9 of their last 12. And off we go from Strand Arena. In the MAC Sunbelt Challenge, Texas State lost its MAC game at the start of the year, getting blown out at Bowling Green. Western Michigan back home in Kalamazoo defeated Coastal Carolina. Kendall Davis starts the day with a 3. It's a misfire, and here comes Brewer, and the Broncos ball knocked away and taken away by Tay Knox. And then Brewer forces a tie-up, and the basketball will stay with the Broncos.
Yeah, you see Tay Knox there on the ground. Again, really good tip there by Drone. Sort of picks the pocket of Brewer, and Knox is the first guy on the floor. He's coming off a big effort game at Georgia Southern earlier this week, and Coach Johnson really commented on his play and how it impacted the win.
Texas State, again, one of the top home teams in the country, record 12-1 at home. As Justice Williams drills the mid-range. Well, the Broncos have really struggled at home, 1-10, and the only win came 2 months ago against SIU Edwardsville. They have the early lead. As Gums drives and kicks, drawn a 3. Bobcats 0-2 from deep to start today, and the basketball will go back to Western Michigan.
Yeah, a good job there collapsing by Western Michigan on the drive by Gums, making him have to give the ball up. Drone got a great look at it, and you don't want to roll the dice too many times and give Drone that type of look at the three-point line.
Just got a look at Dwayne Stevens, fourth-year head coach in Western Michigan, former Broncos player, or former Eastern Michigan player, beg your pardon. And here's Brewer, matched up against Knox, trying to cross him over. Met by double team. Now Williams, shot clock under 10. The player that missed the first half of the year. Able to work it inside, and Max Burton drives and draws a foul. A bailout foul with 3 seconds left of the shot clock.
It's one of those things that'll, as a pet peeve of all coaches in particular, you're going to see Coach Johnson not be happy with that. Again, it's definite foul there. Tay Knox gets the arm of Burton, and they've got to do a better job in short seconds, Texas State does, of controlling the basketball, especially in that middle third of the court.
The Broncos coming off a loss in Athens against Ohio on Tuesday. Free throw shooting was a big area of concern in that game. They lost by 20, and they were 10 of 25 from the line. 15 missed free throws in a 20-point loss.
And that's sort of unheard of at the Division I level to miss that many free throws. And I know that's something that Coach Stevens, I'm sure, addressed. And you can see it's already paying off, addressing it, paying off dividends early here for the Broncos.
The veteran Burton hits both free throws. Today, 89th clear game in Western Michigan. 4-0 lead early for the Broncos. We're going to snap a 2-game slide. Davis from the top. Short again. Bobcats have been baited into taking threes, and three-point shooting has not been a strength this year for Texas State.
You hit the nail on the head with that, Brant. Texas State is at the bottom of all the 360-plus teams in the nation in the number of three-point attempts. They have some guys that can really shoot it, but it's not really what they do. They really play inside out in that mid-range, and for the first 3 shots to be threes, I'm not sure Coach Johnson's real happy about shot selection at this point.
Off the turnover by E.J. Ryans. First turnover of the day for Western Michigan. Texas State has it back. Drone inside of Knox, works it out to Hall. He puts up a 3. That one is good. Bobcats, all 4 shots have come from beyond the arc to start the afternoon.
It's sort of funny. DJ Hall's not necessarily known as a three-point shooter. He does a lot of other things to impact the game, but the last couple of games here at home, he has definitely found his niche on three-point shooting.
Oh, Hall, a steal behind the back dribble and lays it in.
Showing you the full skill set there, Brant. Big man being able to handle the ball like that in the open court is almost unheard of.
Bobcats have their first lead, courtesy of the freshman DJ Hall. Here's Justice Williams. Shot clock to 10. Burton. Back to Williams. Shot clock winding down. Burton, the fadeaway. Here comes Texas State.
look, Texas State getting in that half, looked for the opportunity in transition, wasn't there. And again, got the ball back and is getting in their half-court offense. They've really been playing well as of late in the half-court.
Hall puts the ball on the deck, out to Gums. Shot clock under 10. The San Marcos native from misfire, rebounded by Brewer. Excellent rebound for the Broncos, their best. Now he'll drive and thought it was contact, begging the officials for a call. That doesn't come, but the basketball will stay with Western Michigan.
Yeah, you get a look here. It looks like a little bit of contact there by Kendall Davis. He got away with one on that one. Definitely got his hand in the cookie jar there and should have been blown for a foul.
There's Justice Williams. Talked about him earlier. Missed the first 13 games of the year after missing all of last season at Robert Morris. He'll get the inbounds pass from Brewer. Griffith just checked into the game and hits a three. Jalen Griffith, one of the top bench scorers in the MAC, putting up 14 points per game. And the Broncos back in front.
And that is definitely one of the things about this Broncos team is they are, I want to say, deep. They go deep and they have a lot of guys off the bench who are going to be heavy contributors.
And they'll call Gums for the travel. Looked like he was using that prop step, but they're going to say he took too many steps. Turnover, Texas State. And we will step aside. The Bobcat freshman DJ Hall off to a hot start, but his Bobcats go early at home against Western Michigan. Yeah, Western Michigan was a long-time assistant for one of the greats in college basketball, Tom Izzo, and Michigan State, where he played back in the early 1990s. And he's coached some really good players throughout his career. Talk more about that in a bit. For the Bobcats, their head coach, Terrence Johnson. He is the fourth winningest coach in program history, sitting on 102 wins. Became the fastest coach in team history to hit the century mark, doing so earlier this season. Broncos the lead, still early in the first half. Ball knocked away, taken away by Drone. Griffith got a hand on it, and that'll stay with Texas State.
The Broncos, we'll talk more about it throughout the broadcast. They're really going to put a lot of pressure on Texas State. And he knows 5 players outside the arc there. And they do a lot of what's called zoom action. And that's going to be really difficult to guard, especially if you're trying to switch like screens.
So far, Broncos have held the Bobcats to 5 points, a little more than 4 minutes in, but defense has been a problem for Western Michigan this year, giving up close to 80 points per game, second most in the MAC. And right now, their MAC record 2-8, sitting in last place out of 13 teams. And remember, the top 8 qualify for the conference tournament, but they're good defense. Bobcats fail to get a shot off, and that's another turnover against Texas State.
Yeah, that's a mental mistake by the Bobcats. They've got to recognize shot clock and get down to short seconds and get in a set. And, you can't have those mental mistakes, especially at this point in the season.
There's Declan Peterson. Now Griffith on a switch bet by Willis. Crosses him over. Maybe got away with the travel there, but I don't think his pivot foot ever left the floor. Able to hit Brewer inside for a layup. And Griffith just avoided the turnover, and it's 9-5 Broncos. Drone out to Hall, who scored all 5 points so far for Texas State. Willis coming off his big game against Georgia Southern on Wednesday. Gums fires a 3, in and out. Rebounded by Peterson.
Yeah, Kyle Willis, as you mentioned, had a huge monster game down in Statesboro earlier this week, and they're going to need, again, right now it's DJ Hall, and that's about it for the Cats scoring-wise. Western Michigan has done a nice job on the defensive end, slowing down Texas State's offense. Shot
clock to 10. Here's Williams. Picked up by Hall and Brewer. Call for the travel, 4 turnover against the Broncos. Texas State offensively, 2 of 7 from the floor to start. As you look back at the travel here against Brewer, and of the 7 shots they've taken, 5 of them have been threes.
Yeah, and that is not Texas State's game. That's not where they thrive. They've got to get points in the paint. They've typically done a great job throughout this year of establishing the inside guys or either drives to the paint. And if they can, continually forced to take the deep threes, that is definitely favors the Broncos.
6 minutes gone by. 4-point lead, Western Michigan early on. Drone in traffic rises and hits. First basket of the day for Mark Drone, who's coming off a tough shooting night against the Eagles on Wednesday.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty drive, but the end result was he comes away with 2, sort of mishandled the basketball.
Peterson, they would work it out to Carson Viss. Now it's Griffith. Out of the trap, out of the Peterson. Good ball movement. Williams right now, that shooter goes. Justice Williams hits his second three. 12-7 Broncos.
Yeah, they are really stretching that defense of Texas State on the ball screen, and that recovery for Caden Guns back out to Justice Williams was just so long to cover that amount of territory. He was late, ends up giving up a 3.
Correction for Williams, his first 3, but now 2 of 2 from the floor. Broncos 4 of 6 from the floor to start the afternoon. Early advantage here on the road against Texas State. Here's Kendall Davis for the Bobcats inside of Frank Emu. Great play and a backdoor pass. It is 12-9.
Yeah, great vision there, as you mentioned, by Kendall Davis to see that back cut.
Here's Griffith, shortest player on the floor. Al Lewis spots up a 3. Drone to track down the rebound. Drone, coast to coast, and scores. Broncos in the way. Griffith into the corner. Viss, southpaw, rattles one home.
And Viss is coming off a big game too. Had 14 points against Ohio, and they, he can really shoot the basketball, as you mentioned, Grant.
Here's Drone going to work again. Now Davis into the paint, met by 3 defenders. Pass knocked away, saved by Gums. Shot clock to 10. Drone rises up, short of the 3. Viss tracks on the rebound for the Broncos. Griffith. Bobcats are switching everything on defense right now. It's Griffith. Can't hit over Willis. Rebounded by Emu. Emu. This bounce pass knocked away by Lewis, but a foul called against Western Michigan. And that'll lead to a timeout here in San Marcos. Broncos on the road, leading in round 2 of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge on critical time of year, right at the cusp of postseason play.
Yeah, you really want to be playing your best ball during February, leading, as you mentioned, Brand, into March. You don't win championships in October and November. This is the time that you want to get that momentum on your side, and again, start playing really consistent ball.
Bobcats down 4 with the basketball. Makai Willis inside, scores! His first point of the day, 15 off the bench in the win over Georgia Southern in Statesboro a few nights ago.
Yeah, and it was in a short amount of time. In about 5 minutes, he put up those numbers, and I like that first play from him, being a little physical at the glass. That's one of the things that he's not been consistently all year for Coach Johnson.
Here's Viss on the drive, got trapped, works it into the opposite corner. E.J. Ryan's in and out. Got it for the rebound. Willis has got it for Texas State. Jalen Bolden. It's it back from Kendall Davis. Bobcats going to work. As we approach the halfway point of the first half, Emu with 3. Got it. Right down the chute for Frank Emu, Texas State's top 3-point shooter. And the Bobcats have a lead back.
Yeah, that inside-outside is really difficult. Again, they threw the ball into Makai Willis. They collapse. That gives Emu enough time to get his feet set, and a great look at that 3 and making it.
Well, he's hit some big shots over the past couple of games. The wins over Old Dominion and Georgia Southern. Off another Bronco miss. Bobcats trying to add the lead as Bolden drives, pulls, and can't hit. Rebounded by E.J. Ryan, a sophomore out of Grand Rapids. A lot of these Bronco players from the state of Michigan. About half the roster. There's Burton looking for some help here. Close to a 5-second call. Just got rid of it.
And Texas State did a great job between Kendall Davis and Bolden on a switch over there and really got the ball stuck.
Corner 3. That one a little bit too strong. From Sherrod Barnes. And Texas State will get it back. And some wholesale changes here for Western Michigan. Dwayne Stevens changing the lineup drastically now.
Yeah, brought in 4 players. Texas State rotated in 2 bigs with Hall and Fields coming in, the 2 freshmen. And just getting some fresh bodies out there on the floor.
Bobcats, the team that's heating up. Winners of 3 in a row, 5 of the last 7. And now the Sun Belt plays 7-6, tied to Coastal Carolina for 5th in the conference standings. Starting to climb that proverbial conference ladder. Drone lost the ball in the crossover, but touched by Ryans. Stays with Texas State.
Yeah, and you've seen so far in the Sun Belt. We'll look at standings in the MAC later, but it's tight. I mean, on any given night, I think anybody can beat anybody, and that's pretty much. You got to come to play.
Even in the mid-range, he's hit a couple of shots off the bench. Last 2 baskets for Texas State. The Bobcats have rounded off a 7-0 run. And they've hit 6 of the last 8 from the floor. Team that plays so well here at home. Only setback at home this season against Arkansas State. Williams strives. Contested shot against Robert Fields. Fields trying to save the ball and touch the drone.
And a great effort there by the freshman to save that ball. Big guy.
Hall, the spin move doesn't go. Fields offensive rebound. Texas State, a 9-0 run.
Now you gotta like the energy of the 2 freshmen inside for Texas State, really using their bodies, their size, and just playing with a good motor.
Broncos haven't scored in 4 minutes. Williams to Peterson into the corner. Ryans 3-pointer ends the run and quiets the crowd.
Great ball movement there by the Broncos. You see the same thing, that same recipe, inside to the low block, kick the ball out to the opposite side, and you catch the defense in a long rotation.
4 of the 6 shots the Broncos have hit have been threes. Coming up at 8 minutes to go in a 2-point game as Hall spins into traffic. Missed. Peterson collects the rebound for the Broncos. Here's Brewer on the take with the left hand and scores to tie the game.
Yeah, Brewer is just lethal in transition. You can see his ability to accelerate and get to the rim. You've got to really level him off earlier. Texas State did not do that in that last set.
Well, the basketball runs the family. His dad played college basketball at Houston. Drone, contested shot, well short. The ball will stay with the Bobcats, though, when we come back.